Hey, hey, hey. What's up, guys? It is Mars Sports, Itchable Marshall. Today, we're doing round of 32 picks again, but this time, it's for the women. So, let's do this. So, basically, I'll show y'all my bracket real quick. Let me go to fantasy. Hold up. Sorry, just ignore my fantasy football stuff. So I'm in the 47th percentile. So not great, but like I have room to improve. Still some perfect brackets right, dang. So here are the ones I got correct. I got UConn, Maryland, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, USC, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Texas Christian. Why do I call them Texas Christian? TCU, Virginia, Iowa, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Baylor, Duke, Texas Tech, LSU, Texas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Louisville, North Carolina State, and Michigan. What I did not get correct was Iowa State. Syracuse ended up winning that game. Colorado, because Illinois actually won that game. It was a close game, though. And South Dakota State, Washington handily beat them. I just had a feeling that South Dakota State was probably going to win that. Yeah, then Green Bay. But Green Bay, this was actually a really close game. I know it looks like it was handled, like won by a decent amount, but like Green Bay was leading pretty much the whole time. And then they kind of choked in the end. Then Virginia Tech, I got incorrect. Oregon ended up winning that by 10. Rhode Island, I got incorrect. Alabama still won that game. Yeah, I saw it. There's not many picks I got incorrect. It's just weird. I don't know. Oh, maybe it's just like the overall bracket. I don't know. Oh, yeah, but there's that. But I'm still riding with Texas, my national championship pick. So there's that. Anyways, let's do this. So, let's start off with Maryland versus North Carolina, an old ACC matchup right here, as these two teams used to be in the same conference, ironically. Maryland has beat Murray State by a decent amount in their last game to start the tournament. Did Maryland and North Carolina play each other this year? No, but let's see. But Maryland's been great this year. They've had a lot of good wins this year against some good teams. Yeah, they had a few losses in a row, but they got back going the tournament. They're taking on North Carolina. North Carolina, I mean, they beat up West Illinois by a decent amount. So there's that. So both these teams handily won their games. Yeah, there's that. But if I'm being completely honest with you, I think this will be a close game. Well, because I think both these teams actually have legit shots at winning this game. But I'm gonna say North Carolina wins 67%. Go with them as well. 6. All right, let's never mind. I'm not gonna do 6-7. 6-7. Sorry, my inner brain rot in me. Me. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Moving on. Now I got North Carolina State versus Michigan. North Carolina State, they won their last game against Tennessee by 15 points. Did they win? No, that wasn't. Sorry. North Carolina State, they did good this year. They're 21-10. They did lose to Notre Dame in the tournament, but they seem like they look good against Tennessee. So there's that. They are taking on Michigan, who beat up Holy Cross by a lot. So there's that. They did lose to Iowa in the tournament, but like they're still a great team. They beat some great teams this year. And I think this ought to be a great game. But I think Michigan's going to win this game. 83% go with them as well. So pretty lopsided there for the most part. Now I got Ole Miss versus Minnesota. Ole Miss, Gonzaga put it decently close, but Ole Miss won that game in the end. They've been good this year. They've won a lot of good games. They beat Vanderbilt in the tournament, of course. They had some weird losses, like the A&M loss was kind of weird. Ole Miss is a great team, though, so there's that. They're taking on Minnesota. Minnesota definitely played Green Bay, not great, so definitely looked really shaky against Green Bay, but they ended up closing that game out in the end. So at least I had some validation to pick Green Bay to win that game, but because they almost did, yeah. But Minnesota, they've been inconsistent this year. There's that. Overall, though, who I think's gonna win? I'm gonna say Ole Miss. Actually, no, I'm going to say Minnesota wins this one. 74% go with them. I'm sorry, I keep doubting y'all, Minnesota. Baylor versus... Oh, wait, hold up. Sorry, I skipped ahead. Now I got my team's game. Whoa. I did not realize we were 24-point favorites. Jeez. As we have Texas Tech versus LSU. Little Texas Bowl rematch from 2015. That was my first ever LSU game I went to. My first ever college game I went to was Texas TCU a long time ago when we went to Austin. I'm pretty sure it was there, yeah. But Texas Tech, they beat Villanova in a close game as they definitely have been very good this year. Like they beat some good teams. They've had also lost some weird teams, but like they've been good this year, and I think they could be pretty competitive though. But they're taking LSU, and LSU just scored, I think the most points of anyone in men's and women's so far, with 116 points, as they scored like the most points in the first half of anyone in the tournament history, something like that, because they scored 64. But yeah, but their offense was rolling against Jacksonville, man. Like that offense is great. When they get rolling, they're amazing. I'm pretty sure they tied the record with most triple-digit scored games this year. As LSU has just been going off, man. They just been amazing. Like their defense definitely shook up a little bit parts of the game, but they got much better as the game went on. Like they're getting a lot of steals. Yeah, there's that. But I mean, LSU's at home, and I trust them to win this one. So I'm gonna say LSU wins 79% as well. Tech could be. I think Tech could be pretty competitive though. Yeah. Moving on, as we have Baylor Duke. I believe these two teams actually played each other this year. And Baylor, I believe, won this. I think it's the opening game. Yeah, they actually beat Duke earlier this year. Ironically, it was at Duke as well. So they're back at the exact same place they started this year, except it's a March Madness. And Duke, ironically, is highly seeded, more higher seeded than Baylor. But Baylor's been great this year. They've had a few losses, but like they've been really good this year. Of course, I remember. Of course, Kim Mulkey won a lot of championships with them. So yeah, but Baylor, they already know how to beat Duke, and so they could do it again. But I gotta admit, Duke's a much better team than they were to start the season. They had a few losses still towards the end of the season, but like Duke looks much better than they did to start the season because Duke did not look great to start the season. So overall, I'm actually gonna say Duke wins this one. I'm surprised it's lopsided, 76% go them as well. But like, we'll see what happens. Just I trust Duke more than I would have at the beginning of the season. Now I got Oregon versus Texas. Oregon is 23-12 this year. They beat Virginia Tech in their last game by 10 points. They had a few weird losses, but like they beat some good teams this year. But they are taking on Texas, and Texas is the number one seed, of course. Like they're by the way, just letting y'all know, 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds host these games, for the first two rounds. But Texas, I mean, they have not lost a game since they lost to Vanderbilt last month, and then the only 3 losses this year were the Vanderbilt, LSU, and South Carolina. They actually ended up beating South Carolina twice, and then beat LSU the next time they played because that was the team they played twice this year. So yeah, but Texas, of course, is like one of the quote unquote Cinderellas in the men's March Madness after being Gonzaga. I say quote unquote because it's Texas. No one considers them a Cinderella unless it's like. Yes, it's Texas. Everyone knows who Texas is. But yeah, there's that. But overall, I think this could be competitive. I'm going to say Texas wins this pretty handily. 79% of them as well. I mean, they beat up on Missouri State in their last game. So there's that. By 32 points, yeah. Of course, Texas is my pick to win March Madness this year. So, in women's at least. And then, men's I have Duke winning, even though. Well, Duke looked better yesterday, I will admit. They actually beat TCU by a decent amount. So, like, they played much better against TCU than they did against Siena, of all teams. But, yeah. But we got Michigan State versus Oklahoma. Michigan State, Colorado State almost beat them in their last game. Like, Colorado State nearly got the jump on them, but Michigan State closed that in the end. But there's that. But of course they're playing Oklahoma, who beat up Idaho in their last game. So yeah, but both these teams have been great this year. I think this could go either way, but I think Oklahoma. I think I probably could trust them more compared in this game. So I'm gonna say Oklahoma 70% go with them as well. Plus it is at Oklahoma too, so definitely gives you that home field advantage. Now and then 9 p.m. Jeez, for a game in Fort Worth, Texas. Why so late? Jeez. Maybe it's because they're playing Washington. Anyways, we got Washington versus TCU. Washington just won their last game pretty handily against South Dakota State. There's that. I think, and they've been good this year. They've had a lot of good wins and all that. Had a few losses, but they've been good. They are taking on TCU, and TCU just beat the crap out of San Diego's, or not San Diego State, UC San Diego's. They beat them by 46 points. Jeez, man. They've had a few losses this year, but like they've been consistently the best team in the Big 12. So I'm gonna say TCU wins this one. 78% go at them as well. Yeah. But I got purple on purple, so we'll see how that goes. I just realized if Baylor wins and then LSU wins, we get a Kim Mulkey Bowl. Anyways, moving on to the next to Monday. Let's talk about Alabama versus Louisville. Alabama, they beat Rhode Island by 13 in their game. So I think Rhode Island actually gave them a pretty good game, but Alabama won in the end. They've been great this year. Like they've had a few weird losses down the stretch, but like they lost by 40 to LSU. Good times, man. But Alabama, though, they've been great this year. They've had some great wins, and I think they can make a decently far in this tournament. They are taking on Louisville. Louisville just beat Vermont by 20, and they've been good. They had a few close losses, like to some good teams, but overall, I think they've been good. Overall, I'm gonna say Louisville wins. 81% go with them as well. Now I got Virginia versus Iowa. Virginia, I mean, they look good against Georgia. Georgia, of course, lost both men's and women's in the first round, so I guess they can just start hyping up football season now. Because but but Virginia's been good. They actually wouldn't end up beating Georgia by more points than they did against Arizona State. So there's that. I think they've been good this year. They're taking Iowa, and Iowa, Fairleigh Dickinson played them pretty well, but they beat them by 10. There's that. But Iowa, though, they're a good team. But I actually had Arizona State winning this game. I believe in my bracket. But I'm actually to say Virginia wins still. 13% going as well. I know it's very, very controversial, but you know what? Why not? We got to pick an upset Sunday now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the 2024 National Championship right here. We got Notre Dame versus Ohio State. As this is a national championship a few years ago. Of course, Ohio State won this one. And Notre Dame, they've been great. They've been good this year. They lost Olivia Miles to TCU, but they still been good. They beat Fairfield by 19 their last game, and yeah, they've been good this year. The last loss was against a close loss against Duke, but they've been good this year. I think they've got some good stuff going with them still. They're taking on Ohio State though. And Ohio State, they beat Howard by 91, so I think they could. I think that's a good win for them. But I think it's ought to be a close game. But you know what? I think there's a lot more. I have a feeling that football might be a little something on their mind, maybe a little bit. I'm gonna take Notre Dame to win. 37% going as well. I think that'll be a kind of a revenge game. You know, it's not actually football, but people will be like, we got to beat them some way. You feel me? Yeah. Now we got Kentucky versus West Virginia. Kentucky, they beat JMU by 15 in their last games. They've been good this year. Had that big win against LSU in the last second shot. I could say that for men's too, of course, but had some loss down the stretch. They lost South Carolina twice in the last 5 games. I guess last 4 games before JMU. But they got some good wins this year. They are taking on West Virginia. West Virginia's been great. They beat up Miami of Ohio. And let's just see. They have not lost a game in like a month when they lost at TCU, and they actually ended up beating TCU in the tournament after that. So, yeah. So, I'm going to say West Virginia wins. 71% going all. They've been really good lately. The Country Roads will win it. Now I got Syracuse versus UConn. Syracuse is 24-8. I actually had Iowa State beating them, but Syracuse ended up beating them by 9. So, yeah, they move on to the next round of the tournament, but they're taking on UConn. They just demolished UTSA. So, and UConn has not lost a single. 35-0 is insane, dog. Like if they win it all this year, it'll be. Oh wait, hold up. 32, 16, 8, 4. Oh my God, they could be 40-0 this year. That's insane, bro. Yeah, but they've crushed so many opponents this year. It's gonna be hard to compete against against UConn, but I'm gonna take UConn 88% go with them as well. Now I got Illinois versus Vanderbilt. Illinois is 22-11. They've won 66.6667 of their games this year. But they beat Colorado in their last game. They've been inconsistent lately, but like had a few close losses down the stretch. But they beat Colorado. Actually, Colorado beating them, but Illinois ended up winning that game. There's that. They've been good this year. They're taking on Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's been really good this year. They beat up High Point, which, I mean, not many other teams could say that in the tournament. Especially Wisconsin. Even Arkansas. That was a close game. But I know it's women's, but I know it's men's. I know men's and women's are different and all that with like how the teams are, but still. But I mean, they lost to Ole Miss in the tournament, but like they've still been great this year. I think they could legit make it pretty far in this tournament. Overall, though, I'm gonna say Vandy wins this one. 77% go with them as well. And now we got two more games. We got USC versus USC. It's actually happening. So it's it. So like I said, it was either gonna be the Palmetto Bowl Part 2, I guess, this year, or USC versus USC Part 2. So yeah, but let's take a look at this matchup. South Carolina ended up beating, I'm going to say Southern Cal in this case. I guess USC versus SC. Yeah, but South Carolina ended up winning this game by 17 a few months ago. I mean, I guess it was a neutral site? I don't know. Where was this at? Oh, it was in soccer. It was at South Carolina. Whoa. Wait, no, that's Clemson, sorry. Oh, wow, they beat USC on the road. And now they're hosting USC. I think their odds are much better to win by even more. So, yeah. But USC, though, they beat Clemson their last game. As they had a lot of losses in a row. But they finally got something going. So they beat Clemson in the tournament by 4. So at least they finally got a win, so it could carry them in this tournament. I know that they're having no Juju Watkins this year has kind of hurt them a bit, but they've still been good this year. I think Juju Watkins comes back next year, so there's that. They're taking on South Carolina, and South Carolina's just been insane this year, man. Like, they beat Southern by, oh my God. Jeez, they beat Southern by, I don't even know if I want to do the math for that. 60, oh, wait. No way. They beat Southern by 69 points. God dang. First off, nice, just for the meme of it. Second, God dang. Oh, man. Southern's not a bad team, but, man, they got cooked against South Carolina. But, man, South Carolina's just hard to stop, bro. I think they'll win against USC again, Southern Cal again. 81% so, God damn, I didn't even realize that. Let's see. Wait, I gotta see these scores. Largest margin is the win over Southern's largest margin of victory for South Carolina in NCAA history. God dang, bro. That's insane. Jeez, bro. Like I get they're from the same state as LSU, and you're used to being LSU, unfortunately. But God dang, wow! I didn't even realize they beat them by that much. My God. Anyways, Oklahoma State versus UCLA. Oklahoma State is 24-9. They beat Princeton by a decent amount. Princeton was pretty competitive from at points, but Oklahoma State won in the end. Oklahoma State's they've been inconsistent at points, but like they've been good this year, and they're gonna. But they are taking on UCLA, and UCLA is just beating up everyone. They beat up Cal Baptist. Actually beat them by 53, so over double the points that Cal Baptist scored. And Cal Baptist was actually competitive in men's though, in men's against Kansas. But my God, bro, like there's some butt spankings in this tournament so far. But UCLA though, they've been really good this year. Oklahoma State, they could try to be competitive, but like it's hard, so hard against UCLA, man. I'm gonna go UCLA. 85% go with them as well. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day. And goodbye. See you next one. Peace. Goodbye. See you next one. Peace.